and gentlemen, we're going to begin this cast with predictions. Everyone has seen the Endgame trailers. Everyone is anxious to know what's going on. So based on the Avengers that we are representing, we are going to be talking about predictions going into the movie. So guys, just go ahead and give your 2 cents, what you think is going to happen. And we'll start with Karen Barber.
Ooh. I knew you were going to do that. I am probably the only one who actually hasn't seen the trailer yet. And I didn't watch them on purpose. I was too excited. And I know that sounds silly, but I was so excited I have not seen the trailer yet. I have no predictions. I don't think I want to see the trailer before I see the movie. I just want to kind of go in with a completely blank slate. Sorry.
Okay. Scott?
Well, I have seen the trailers. I think Thanos is going to get a beatdown coming to him in the form of Captain Marvel and some other Avengers, some pretty PO'd Avengers. It's kind of hard to say what exactly is going to happen because they don't really give you too much in the trailer. But I think Thanos has got a beatdown coming. That's about all I can say.
Tawana?
Yeah, I think Thanos is going to get it in this coming movie. And I don't know, somehow things are going to be reversed somehow. All the people that vanished just can't be permanently gone. There's a time stone that could do something about that. I just think things are going to be reversed. People are going to come back. Thanos is going to die. Yeah, that's what I got.
Okay. Justin Cooper?
Silver Surfer.
Booyah!
Yeah.
That would be so awesome.
What do you think?
I think Captain Marvel's going to come back and pull a Superman and just go around and turn time back.
Nice.
Nice.
1979 Superman spins around the Earth and reverses the rotation. Classic.
Steve?
I don't know. Like, I definitely think we're gonna find out that Black Widow's a Skrull, and that's why she could go toe to toe with Proxima Midnight. And I think we're gonna see one of my favorite shots from the Infinity War comic, which was Thanos' armor up on a scarecrow. Really looking forward to that. He is in the wheat field. We saw that in the trailer. Okay. I really, really hope that Coop's right, because everybody is just like, we know Captain Marvel. That's the given person who's going to come in as the cavalry to save the day. But I hope that there's also something else that we're not expecting, like some new character that we haven't seen yet and nobody is going to see coming. And I truly hope it's the Silver Surfer, because he had such a big part in the original. I mean, so did Adam Warlock, but
so did Cyclops.
Were pretty key at the end to getting the glove off of Thanos. I mean, it ended up being Nebula, but I really hope we see the Surfer.
Nice. Jose?
To piggyback on what Steve said, Adam Warlock actually is possible because of Guardians too. So, I mean, I would love to see that happen as well. I would love to see Silver Surfer happen. I don't think that's actually going to happen though. It's been rumored that they're going to use the microverse because that's how Ant-Man escaped it, and that they're going to bring Black Knight and all this other jazz into it because of that. I think somehow they're going to be able to reverse things by going through the microverse, but I don't think the original like Tony, Cap, and a few others I don't think are going to make it. Maybe stuck in the microverse while everything is reversed or something, and that's how they wind up not coming back, but everybody else does. Something along that effect.
Okay. Jason?
How many do you want?
Wow. just one. Just your best one for now.
My best one is a combination of what some other folks said. I hope that the secret surprise character is actually Vision. I have a personal pet theory that it's possible that Vision, quote unquote, uploaded himself into the Mind Stone and can pull the Adam Warlock move, but using the Mind Stone instead of the Soul Stone. In the comics, when Adam Warlock basically was so in tune with the Soul Stone that he actually came out of the Soul Stone, and that's how he got the ability to kind of take the Infinity Gauntlet. I'm hoping that they pull that move, but with Vision and the Mind Stone. And if they don't do that, then I'm hoping that they follow the comics where Nebula is the one that eventually wields it. And I think they've set her up to have so much pathos with the audience that with her being tortured on screen, with a female character being tortured on screen, I think that there's every hope that she can actually be the one that defeats Thanos.
Okay.
Agreed. I think she needs to be the one that kills him, not Captain Marvel.
For me,
Oh, and I actually think that Captain Marvel and Thor are gonna have a side mission, that the reason they're not walking in the parade of heroes in the trailer is because they're the heavy hitters, and they'll either have a separate side mission or they'll be like the distraction.
Yeah.
for me, I think that as far as predictions go, Adam Warlock is definitely it, and I think Adam Warlock is going to show up. I got this feeling. Why would they introduce a Golden Atom in Guardians of Galaxy 2 and him not have anything to do with Infinity War? It's because they're going to need him to defeat Thanos in Endgame. So I think that's going to be it, Adam Warlock as well. But I also think that Silver Surfer is a possibility as well. I would like to see that happen. I'm not sure if Marvel, how Marvel is going to handle that, but I think that would be my favorite prediction. I think is that Silver Surfer pops up because it doesn't seem right to have the entire Infinity Gauntlet story even set to movie without him actually even being mentioned or popping up in a cameo or something. So hopefully that does happen. I'm going to agree with that as well. Getting into the road thus far.
Lincoln.
I'm sorry?
Lincoln.
You didn't go, Lincoln? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I think they might go. They're going to use the quantum realm to probably, since it's like limbo, time doesn't really move forward or backwards. So they'll probably use that to go to different points in time, and trying to. They might visit every battle that they had, and maybe this time Star-Lord gets the glove off. But if they lose that battle, that will be a little different outcome as far as that battle goes, and then they move on to the next battle. And this time maybe Thor goes ahead. So we can see.
Nice.
I would not that I have a theory on what's going to happen, but my wish, like if I had my wish, it would be Hawkeye that takes Thanos down. He's the one that's done the least, the most jokes about him.
Honestly, that would make a lot of sense.
It
would make a lot of sense if it was him.
Huh?
I said it would make a lot of sense if it was Hawkeye because he's that kind of character. You at least expect him to pop up, and he does something amazing. So that would actually fit to me if Hawkeye ended
What about Gamora?
Nah, I don't. She's out of there. I think she's out of there. I don't think she's coming back.
What?
Because the Soul Stone is in the gauntlet, and he has possession of it. I don't think that she can come back until the gauntlet's taken from him, and then after it is, they have to figure out how to get her back. I think that's going to be a whole other movie later. Like I don't think that because technically if she comes out of the Soul Stone goes back to what's the name of that planet it was on?
Boromir.
And back to the Red Skull. I think that's what'll happen. So I think that would not really make a whole lot of sense because then someone would have to go and sacrifice a soul in order to get the Soul Stone back, and you don't have the Infinity Gauntlet. You cannot reverse what happened. So
I think that's what happens to Iron Man.
You think he goes into the Soul Stone?
I think that if there's any kind of a fight over the Soul Stone itself, that Iron Man makes the sacrifice play that was foretold at the beginning of their relationship.
That's fair too. Moving forward with the road thus far, there was a reason why this panel came together. We were all supposed to kind of decide which side we agreed with more, being that we split the cast into Cap and Iron Man side. And I wanted to talk about that. I wanted to kind of get into the debate portion and us discuss why we picked this side, what side we picked, and give the other side a chance to defend it. Obviously, since the Cap side is far outweighing the Iron Man side tonight, I'm going to go ahead and let the Cap side go first. So any Avenger that picks Captain America's side, be prepared to say why you picked that side, and again, be prepared to let the audience know which Avenger that you'll be representing. We'll start with Tawana.
Hi. I picked Thor, and I picked Cap's side because I don't want to get kicked off of Cap's side. But I picked Cap's side because I didn't agree with the Sokovia Accords. I get it. I understand it. But I just, no. Like, if I had to pick, I would have picked Cap's side because I wouldn't have signed that.
Okay.
That's pretty shit. That's really why I picked Cap's side. I like the power that's on Tony's side, but yeah, that's it.
Madam President, we'll let the ladies go first.
Excuse me, I picked Cap's side as well, and it's because I don't like the idea of people. I don't like the idea of them being monitored. I mean, I understand the problems with destruction and collateral damage, but at the same time, I'm not sure that people who don't have the power and the burden of the moral decisions that people have to make, obviously, if you don't have that, can really regulate.
Brooke?
Well, I started on Iron Man's side, but then I went to Cap's side at the end. So, and I did that because I think being regulated by the government would keep the Avengers from being able to do what they need to do to keep the world safe.
Okay. Now that almost all the ladies have gone first, Cap, you know, squeeze it in there. Kidding. Now we're going to start with the gentleman. Steve?
Well, I'm on Tony's side.
Okay. Why is that?
Okay. Well, you know, mainly because I'm a U.S. Army colonel, and so when the general comes and says, "Hey, we have to pass this law and we got to regulate superheroes," as James Rhodes, I'm not going to really be in a position to go against that. You know, it's just who I am, and besides the fact, Tony's my best bud, so I'm going to back him up. Pretty much as simple as that.
Lincoln?
I mean, based on the character that I picked, it obviously would think that I would pick Cap's side, but I'm gonna go with Tony because of all the destruction and all that stuff that happened. There was a series of events that led to this legislation even being put in place. So they were kind of reckless. They were kind of like freewheeling, doing their thing, and there had to be some type of regulation put in place. I mean, it's probably, I probably wouldn't put something that was as stringent as the Accord, but something needed to be done. They had to be regulated or managed because you're talking about superpowered people that you know, they're very a rare kind. So even if it was like monitored, like I'm old school, like somebody like Gyrick back in the day, you know, he presided over the Avengers for a long time, and you know they was okay with it until he went off the rails and everything. So if they put like a liaison on the team just to see what they were doing and getting stuff, you know, just regulated and put him on like certain missions, because the Avengers were reactionary. They weren't like proactive. So they, you know, if you can put some regulation together, just some rules together, then I could see where Tony Stark was right about, you know, siding with the Accord and everything. So that's my take.
Jason Duncan?
That was a really good answer.
It really was.
Man.
Army.
Jason?
I represent Spider-Man, and despite my love affair with Tony in the movies, I totally went with Team Cap. Cap not only in every canon represents freedom, but he's just so noble. He's the best guy, and if you've met Tony in any iteration, you know that who would follow that guy. But on top of that, mostly it's about the Sokovia Accords and freedom with me. And I think Parker would agree if he actually understood Tony and the Sokovia Accords issue. There's a quote by Thomas Jefferson: "Some are Whigs, liberals, Democrats, call them what you please. Others are Tories, serviles, aristocrats, etc. The latter fear the people and wish to transfer all power to the higher class of society, and the former consider the people as the safest depository of power, and only in the last resort. They cherish them, therefore, and wish to leave them in all powers to the exercise of which they are competent." And ultimately, it's really about, I mean, it's almost like Second Amendment rights as far as I'm concerned. The people have power and somebody wants to regulate it. There's already laws against immorality. You don't have to start registering people. And once you start registering, we've seen where that goes in history. And I think both myself and Peter Parker would agree with that if it was ever actually laid out for him.
Cool.
Ooh.
As an artificial life form, all I can really say is that the most logical would be to side with the company that can do the greatest of goods. So
Sounds
that would
Scottish.
clearly be Tony Stark. Jarvis is my name, and Jarvis is my co-pilot.
Obviously, the man sounds like he knows what he's talking about, so we'll just
Beautiful.
Everybody go home.
As a
Well,
star-spangled,
freedom-
freedom-loving American, I have to say that speaking with a British accent automatically kind of makes you the bad guy.
Only in Marvel movies.
Hold on, we gotta let Jose go and do his. Jose, why are you Captain America, and why do you agree with that side?
I'm Captain America, and I agree with Captain America. First off, this is a bit of a complex issue. I want to say that I think even Captain America and Steve Rogers would agree that oversight for anybody that's taken action where extreme violence may be necessary or extreme actions may be necessary is not a bad thing. However, let's take a look back, walk down memory lane with me, if you will, for a second, and let's look back at actually the people responsible for a lot of the stuff that happens through the Avengers movie. So the Terrorist Act is in SHIELD possession when things go wrong. Captain America 2 is all about SHIELD messing up, being infiltrated, and them going against innocent civilians. All throughout the Iron Man movies, Iron Man 2, they put out a government contract that gets infiltrated, and you got a bunch of drones running around shooting people up. Every single time one of these things comes up, it's an infiltration by the government or a leak, whatever it is. Now, you got to make the case of, again, while I understand oversight is bad, even, like to take an example from everyday culture, like no one's telling the cops, no one's got to look over and watch what you're doing. But now you got to take when you're choosing sides. Let's say this: you got a guy who works for the government all his life under his thumb, Captain America, right? When he switches side, you got to ask yourself why. Like maybe he knows something, and maybe he's been part of something. Though he's got to know. I mean, it's like a restaurant employee telling you don't eat here, man, and you're like, no, but I really like the food. It's like, yeah, no, I'm telling you, don't eat here. Like. He's telling you why, because he knows there's stuff behind the scenes that's bad. And then I'm going to further say, when you see people like Black Widow take his side, Hawkeye take his side, it's a bunch of people who work with the government all of their lives. They have no reason not to continue working with the government unless there is a reason not to continue working with the government, unless they know things that the rest of us don't know. So if you got people that are inside the government and they're telling you, no, man, you should not want this to happen, I'd listen. And I think it only makes the most logical sense for everybody else to listen to. That's my stance.
I'm Ian Wallace, and obviously I will be representing Iron Man, and I obviously picked Iron Man's side. And the reasons for doing so is simply because I feel like this. after it's all said and done, after everything that we've kind of gotten a chance to see on the road thus far, I believe, as the Vision had said once, that oversight is something that shouldn't be dismissed out of hand. And I feel like where we are right now as a team, meaning as speaking as the Avengers, is based on all of those mistakes and the culmination of it. I like to correct two things. I like to correct two things that I heard. For one, Avengers 2 was not about robots running around shooting people up. It was about a mistake that was made by Tony Stark to try to do.
Who made the mistake?
Hold on, by Tony Stark and what he thought was right by creating Ultron. He obviously did that to defend the Earth, and in that mistake, it ended up with all the Sokovia, everything that happened over there, Ultron, the battle with Ultron, the destruction of that city, and although a lot of people's lives were saved, a lot of people died. Now, the flip side of that coin is, in Civil War, in the inciting incident, when Wanda Maximoff ended up killing a lot of innocent people by accident trying to protect her team on a mission that was not sanctioned by the government or anyone else. And it was just those individuals that went out to go do that one thing, just like it was with Tony Stark. He made a decision. He followed that decision through. It ended up with people dying. My thing was, why wasn't there an example taken from that? Let's blame Tony Stark. Let's say he's the bad guy, but why wasn't an example taken from that? Why didn't anyone step back and say, okay, then that would have been the time to kind of implement these Sokovia Accords? And I guess that's why the government started doing it. And of course, Tony made the idea or made the attempt to try to work with them. So in my opinion, I feel like there was a lot of things that were kind of just ho-hum, let's dismiss these things out of hand. And because of Captain America's notoriety, a lot of people kind of just ran with him. Scott Lang. I can't say that about Clint and Black Widow, but I could definitely say it about Scott Lang and definitely say it about Falcon. These are two people who kind of just met this man and was like, okay, I'll just follow you off of the cliff, and that's no problem, whatever. And I don't think that there was a whole lot of thought being taken into consideration with what was really going on, because Thor had given the warning, something's coming. I don't know exactly what. He basically told everyone Thanos was coming at that point, that the Mind Stone had something to do with it and something very bad was coming. And instead of being a team and sticking together and us, trying to congeal, it seemed like everybody was just kind of doing their own thing and nobody really was paying attention to the consequences of what their actions were. And, well, I could say nobody was until Tony killed all those people in Sokovia. And then it started to become an issue.
Are we allowed to interject?
Absolutely. I was just talking about my side for the Iron Man side.
I think Tony Stark's projecting a little bit of Tony Stark's own issues onto everybody. I think Tony Stark was freaking out.
Everybody at all.
No.
As a matter of fact, I think I was
Okay.
talking about one character.
Oh, okay. I got you. Okay, yeah, I understand.
I wanted to interject here saying, because you said like Falcon and I'm sorry, who's the other, and Scott Lang. Okay, now they only followed Steve Rogers because of his personality.
Yeah, met him one time.
I'm perfectly fine with that answer, because here's the thing: if you find somebody that embodies everything you like, everything that you respect and think is perfect, and he tells you, and for a fact, he works for the government that he is opposing, and he comes and tells you, look, man, this is not a good idea. We should not be doing this. I'm okay with you going, look, if this guy who's the best man I know and who actually works for the government, if he tells me we shouldn't be doing this, I'm okay with somebody going, I agree. Okay, I'll follow you.
Basically, my next portion of the debate portion of it I wanted everybody to kind of give, everybody gave their reason as to why they picked the side that they picked. But based off the information so far on the road thus far, is there anything as an Avenger that you would have wanted to see done different, knowing where we are now? So here we are at the cusp of Endgame. Everything's happened. You picked your side. You decided which side you wanted to be on. Knowing all that information and going back and looking at everything holistically, is there anything that you would do different as an Avenger? Is there anything that you would like to see done as an Avenger? We're going to start with Thor.
I feel like I feel like Thanos could have been killed in like several different ways in the last Avenger movie. My favorite theory is Doctor Strange creating a portal and like cutting off his hand while they had him. I mean, that cuts everything short, but I would have liked to see it because I thought that would have been clever.
Are we answering as character or as
Oh,
From the character's perspective, as the character, doesn't matter. Your choice.
I mean, I feel like Thor would have liked to seen that too.
Jose?
all right. Well, speaking as Cap, I think the one thing Cap may have tried to, in hindsight, may have tried to fix is telling Tony about the Winter Soldier, because I think Tony and like everybody else, I think Tony thought it was better to just let a sleeping dog lie. Like there was no reason to hash that up and bring out something that was only going to cause Tony pain. However, being the consequences of Tony's narcissism, probably would have tried to avoid that.
So, what are you saying? It's his narcissism that was the problem, not his parents being murdered by Captain America's best friend? We're just going to overlook that portion of it.
No,
The
but
fact that his best friend murdered his parents, but it was his narcissism that was the problem.
Yeah, because the thing is,
Okay.
he knows it wasn't really Winter Soldier, right? Like he knows that.
Yeah, no, I got you.
He's still trying.
Yeah, but he watched him murder his mom, dude. It
No,
doesn't.
it's okay.
I understand that. I understand that.
That's fine.
But
Murdering someone's mother is acceptable. Being a narcissist is the problem, though. That's the problem.
I mean,
You love yourself
again, to put
somebody's mom is okay as long as you're
to put your own point against you, to put your own point
I feel
against
like I've seen this movie and it made a lot of money.
I want to hear from Jason Duncan and I want to hear from Justin Cooper about would they do anything different as the Avenger that they are now. Looking back at the road now, thus far, how do you guys feel about what's happened and where you guys would like to go going forward?
Well, I've already said it best as Spider-Man. I don't want to go. That's what I would have liked to have seen differently. I don't want to go.
Okay.
That's pretty sad.
Cool.
He played
How
it.
the hell am I going to follow that? My answer is a little more complicated. As Vision, what I would have done differently, I would have used the Mind Stone to get into the head of the people that have an agenda. I would have pursued someone like Thunderbolt Ross to find out what was going on. I would have found Gary Shandling and the rest of the Hydra connection, and I would have weeded that out and nipped it in the bud as Vision, because he had the Mind Stone for a reason.
Good point.
Is his nanotech magic, or how do you get stabbed all the way through, like Thanos did, and you're still functional? I mean, is nanotech really that great?
It's only a flesh wound.
Yes, it's a flesh wound.
Hold on, I want to kind of I want to interject something about that.
Movies.
What Tony Stark used to close his wound wasn't the same technology that they used to heal Clint Barton. That was actually a coagulant, an anticoagulant that he sprayed into the wound. He was still run through.
What they do with a field medicine.
He's still gonna have that. He's still gonna be damaged. I don't think he has that same technology built into his suit at all. Honestly, I think that because he sprayed something into the wound, it wasn't like.
So is he human then? Because apparently the technology is fused with his physiology or his DNA. Whereas,
I'm not sure. I'm actually not sure how the nanotech that he developed worked. They just kind of introduced it, so it's like
just got to assume that was
right. We don't really
I
know.
believe
Brooke, the Black Widow, as an Avenger, what would you see differently? What would you have done differently?
Well, I think that we would have gotten Tony Stark some therapy for his PTSD. Then maybe he wouldn't have created Vision. Who would have who started out as Ultron, who did all the damage in the first place.
Okay, so largely what I'm hearing, and I want to, actually, I'm sorry,
I got
Scott
one.
Lang, go ahead.
As a member who hasn't been part of the Avengers, I don't think I would in Civil War, but not really in the Avengers.
Right.
However, I did fight in the Avengers, and my thing would be doing differently is I would have tried to kept them together, because breaking them apart and then Thanos coming, I mean, that was when we were at our weakest. We were scattered to the wind, and we needed to come together and fight this greater threat as a team, not broken up into all these different sections.
That's fair.